All right, all right, all right. It is Wednesday night. It is another episode of Conversations with Cougars, but we got a twist. We got a Dothan High Tiger in the house tonight, who's also the parent of a Northview Cougar. We got Dennis Tillman, class of 86. How are you doing, DT?
Hey, what's going on, Bernard? How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm so glad to catch up with you for a few minutes, and I'm glad we've reconnected and that you've got some time for us tonight. I don't know if we can get it done in an hour. We got so much good stuff to talk about, but I am so glad to see your face and talk with you tonight. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, hey, likewise, Bernard. Back in the days when we got together and played on that baseball team, you was always real cool. Throwing that ball, firing it down the middle. You hear me?
Well, I gotta, as folks roll in, I'm gonna let you know who's there. I'll let you pick on them. I'll let you say hello. But of course, we got to lead off with one of the Tillman next generation athletes who ended up Northview, then Louisville. Caleb Tillman.
Oh my goodness! I will tell you, Bernard, that was one. Oh my God, that was one of the most hurtful things I ever had to go through. At first, when he went to Northview, he actually was with a lot of his friends over at Carver. So I used to go get him at Carver and try to take him over there and practice with Dothan High. But, one of his friends, he said, Dad, man, I'm going to go try it out. I said, well, okay, we're going to let you try it out. But, you're going to play with Dothan High. You hear me? He said, but once he got over there, man, he got, with his friends. And, I see how he started enjoying. So I had to get on the wagon. But no, it was hard to do. I ain't going to lie to you, but I had to get on the wagon.
It's amazing what we do for our kids. But let's put a pause in Caleb. We got other folks. We got Aristotle Kirkland. We got Doug Jones. We got Patrick Fitch, Cameron Smith. They're all rolling in here for you, my friend.
They rolling in? What's going on, everybody? I see old DJ at the game the other night. It was good to see him out on the field with his beautiful daughter. He escorted her out. So, it was good to see old DJ. And Aristotle, that's my man, Cat. Congratulations, Cat. That's commission. I know if I need anything in Dothan, I know where to come to.
That's right. I should have prefaced it by either Dr. Cat or Mr. Commissioner. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Dr.
Well,
Cat.
Guys, I got Dennis Tillman, Dothan High Tiger, one of the most dynamic running backs in Dothan High history. And I will tell you, every time this man touched the ball when I was watching him play, I was scared he was going to take it to the house every time. He was that talented. But we're gonna quit blowing up his ego a little bit. We're gonna kick it way back. Dennis, let's take it back to what street, what neighborhood you grow up on?
Well, originally I was grew up on the hill. They call it the Acid Plant Hill, over on Shirley Street. Okay, but my family, we moved over to Lakeview. It was actually across the tracks. We used to play each other, and Doug know about this. We used to play each other, back when we was young. It used to be like neighborhood against neighborhood. You hear me? So we actually moved over to Lakeview, and I got a chance to move beside, one of my best friends in the world, Todd Beach. So, I got the chance to go next door to him. And it was just like, oh, my God. I went to school with him from a different neighborhood, and I got to move right next to him. So, we all got together and played ball all the time. I mean, every day, Bernard, from the sun up to the sundown. So, Lakeview is where I was really raised at, but I started up there here.
Besides Todd, who else? Tell me some other future Dothan High or Northview guys were in the neighborhood who you used to play with.
Okay, on the same street. We had Wendell McGriff. He stayed right across the street. We had down the street Vincent Jones, who played at Auburn. He was one of my offensive linemen, at Auburn. Then right around the corner, we had Vincent Fagan. I mean, this all the Felix Beister. He was in the neighborhood. I mean, all of us with Teapot Brown. He stayed right down the street, but he was pretty much over there with Aristotle and them all the time. But you could say he stayed over in our neighborhood, but he was over there with them. And we also had, James Ford. We had, everybody, Stacy Turnipseed. Look at all the guys that played on that team that grew up in the neighborhood I did. So I'm going to tell you, Bernard, it was so much talent came out of Lakeview. It was just crying in the shame. It really was.
Caleb, you can talk all you want about your buddies and how much talent came up with you. But my friend, they will not touch who grew up in your dad's neighborhood. That's some serious athletic talent right there.
That's right.
No wonder they had some awesome teams. Could you imagine back in our day, had we only had one high school at Dothan?
Oh my God! I mean, we wouldn't have lost the game. Never. I don't think so. We had DJ linebacker coming to hitting hard. You know how DJ do it. You know what I'm saying? You quarterback, me trying to talk that tater. Errol Stall. I mean, just everybody. Michael Henry, who hate to lose. I love Mike. Mike, just like me, he hate to lose. Lawrence Dawsey, just like I said, Felix Baxter, he's Felix was really one of the best defensive players that I can recall coming up with, for real. And we became roommates at North Alabama.
Dennis, which middle school did you go to?
I went to Beverly Middle School, Bernard. I went to Beverly.
And I want to say, didn't the Fitch brothers, there was a whole bunch of Northview guys who also went to Beverly, and it just kind of split from there.
Yeah. Patrick Fitch went there. Yeah. Oh, Fitch went there. Doug actually went there, but Doug never played middle school ball. He big time. So he had to get, he had to go and get catered to Northview at the time we was in middle school. So, I came out the woo. Jonathan Parker, he came up to me and said, man, I see the talent in you. He really helped me out. Jonathan really helped me out. He let me know, that I really was, talented when he saw it. And so after he graduated, I couldn't play my when I was in the 6th or the 7th grade, but mama wouldn't let me play. I only could play baseball, So I actually snuck and played football. This is the funniest story. Now, this is a funny story. Coach would take me home and tell my mama I was just staying for intramural. You remember intramural? Okay, so we'll go home play because I'm like, dog, if I get hurt, what I'm going to tell mama? So at first, I wouldn't let her know because in middle school, at PE, I would outrun everybody. Because me and David Hogan, we was in the bike field at the same time then, Tom. And so I finally got in the game. I mean, we had our game, and I ran a couple of three, I guess it was maybe 3 touchdowns, and the lady seen my mom at the grocery store. And she said, oh, my God, Miss Johnny, boy, your son can run that ball. He is fast. And so mom said, you ain't talking about my son. She was like, yes, I am talking about your son. Your son, Dennis? She said, yeah, I was at the game last night. She was like, huh? Boy, Bernard, when she came home, oh my God. It was rough.
I bet that wasn't a good conversation on your end.
Oh my God, it wasn't a good conversation. But my brothers got to talking, and then my next door neighbor, Todd, mother said, I'm letting Todd play. So, Dennis, to be honest with you, a little faster than Todd, so you should let him play. So mom said, okay. So she let me play, and that's how I started playing football. Like you said, remember, I always played baseball.
Now, I knew you were as equally talented on baseball as you were football, but did you have a preference in middle school, which sport you like better?
Well, Bernard, at the time, I was liking baseball. As you know, we played against each other. And then, like I said, we played on that state tournament team. We went to Tuscaloosa, wasn't it? Yeah, Tuscaloosa. Yeah. And, but baseball was my sport because I was batting like 800. I never struck out, but you know how I used to do it, Bernard, hit that ball and get on base and steal all the way home. So baseball was my sport really at the time. But then I started playing football and everybody started noticing me. So I said, man, I love this. You hear me? So football was it.
Now, Dennis, I mean this with all love. Guys, if you didn't see Dennis playing baseball, he was a menace on the base pass. He was a menace. Catchers could not get him. He was awesome. It was fun to play with him back in the day. Yeah. Well, Dennis, let's talk about going to Dothan High. Let's talk about graduating from Beverly. You had some of the guys who were at Beverly with you were going to the other high school in Northview, and you and some of the other fellows were going to Dothan High. Did you ever have a doubt in your mind which high school you were going to?
Oh, without no doubt. My brother Terry had played with Dothan High, and all my family had went to Dothan High. So we was all Dothan High people. And I was living in that zone, like I said, Fagans and Jones and all us, Wendell. We used to go watch them play, then come back in the neighborhood. So it wasn't no doubt I was going nowhere but to the red and black, baby, the best high school in Dothan.
And we're going to get to that in a minute. But Clyde Thompson says hello. John David Edwards says hello. We got a bunch of folks in here rolling in for Dennis Tillman tonight.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, everybody. That's right.
As all of you who are on this, remember back in the day, you may have been friends in middle school. You weren't that friendly on the field in high school, regardless of the sport. We respected each other.
Right.
We sure we're going to give an inch. Didn't matter the sport.
That's right. That's exactly.
Let's just jump in. Instead of jumping, what I usually do is just take it slow. Let's talk about high school, getting into ninth grade and all that stuff. And right. Doug says, you need to stop it right now, DT. High school. Dennis, let's talk about Northview Dothan. What did that rivalry as you were growing up? What did you know about that? Of course, when we were in 8th grade, Northview had its greatest season, went 13-1. Larry Roberts, Pye Whaley, all those guys led them to the state title. Dothan High had been to the state game twice in the 70s, but had lost those 2 years. But you guys had some very competitive teams leading up to when we get into high school. But what did it mean to you, that Dothan High Northview rivalry as a youngster?
Oh man, it meant the world. I mean, I literally would cry, honestly, Bernard. When I was if Northview beat Dothan High when I was in 8-7, I literally would cry. I'm so mad. Be honest with you, I hated Northview at the time. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want, nothing. You know how it was, Bernard. We just hated each other. It was a rivalry that, I think like no other in high school at that time. You know what I'm saying? We really got into each other. I mean, y'all had a lot of great athletes. We had some great athletes. I can't leave out Alex Thomas, too. I love Alex Thomas, one of my teammates. Scotty Dees. There's just a lot of people I just want to, talk about, too. But that rivalry we just couldn't lose it. We just couldn't lose it, Bernard.
It was. And I'll tell you, Dennis, off the field, if a Northview guy dated a Dothan girl or vice versa,
right.
You had to be careful where you were in town. You catch a lot of flack.
I'm telling you, man. I be telling my son that, Bernard. They just don't know how the rivalry was. There was a little more friendlier rivalry until my son's junior year. My nephew was coaching, Kevin. You know what I'm saying? So, Kevin was coaching and Caleb was playing. So that was a hard thing to do. So, he a traitor, Kevin a traitor. He was supposed to go to Dothan High. You hear me? He was supposed to go to Dothan
High. I hear you. I'm ignoring you, but I hear you. Dennis, we got Paul Morrison says to tell you hello.
Hey, I'm my cousin. What's up, Paul?
Revis Gertman says the legend, DT.
Okay, what's up, Reeve? I'm proud of what he's doing right now. Definitely.
Scotty Edwards.
Okay, what up, Scott? That's my boy there. All these people.
Revis says true facts about the rivalry on and off the field. No doubt,
doubt.
Guys, I'm talking with Dennis Tillman, class of 86, one of the finest athletes and running back in Dothan High history. And we're just kind of running through what the rivalry meant between the two schools. And of course, I knew about Dennis. I knew about Doug Mims and Scotty Dees and all those guys. And I know that you knew about all of us because we all played against each other or with each other growing up in middle school, rec ball, whatever, city ball, whatever it was. But when you put on the red and black and put on Northview uniforms, that goes away. The competitive spirit, the athleticism that it rises, or the drive to win rises. And you had an outstanding sophomore year as a running back. You were honorable mention All-State. How did you crack the lineup, Dennis, as a sophomore for 6A Dothan High that year?
Actually, I'm gonna tell you, we was practicing. We had a guy that came in from Florida named Robert Sewell. I don't know if you remember him. He was real big, fast, and strong. I mean, double strong as me. I'm like just getting in the 10th grade. I'm 190 pounds, 185 pounds, soaking wet. You hear what I'm saying? So I went in there, man, and I remember Vincent. You talking about the neighborhood. Vincent Fagans came up to me one day in practice. He said, I see something in you, boy. You finna do it. He grabbed me by my face mask and shook my head. He said, you from Lakeview. And then he shook me again. He said, you from Lakeview. And that just meant so much to them. I just didn't look back then. In practice, I was just, to be honest with you, I was just breaking runs every practice. And Robert was the starter all the way up until game time.
Oh, Dennis, I don't know if we lost you.
One thing about Coach Golden, I love that. He really made me who I was, because he didn't let me lights on nothing, Bernard. You hear me? He just, everything I did, he made me do it right. So, you know, he didn't let me get away with nothing. So
yeah, he was a very fine coach. Now, Dennis, our freshman year, I played ninth grade ball. I didn't see the field or anything for varsity or JV. Right. Dothan High went 3-7, but they beat Northview 10-0. Were you on the varsity in ninth grade, or were you still with the ninth grade or JV team?
I was still with the ninth grade, because, you know, we had Willer Miller at the time running that thing. So, you know, I played JV. I did play JV. I played ninth and JV. But going back to what you asked me about that, when I came back in as a sophomore, I got to tell you this story, Bernard. I came in, I seen them guys, we played Eufaula the first game. You know, we played Eufaula. Dothan, we used to open up with Eufaula. Right. And they had them Reeves boys up there. They were walking by, I'm like I said, 180 pounds. I didn't think I was going to start until we out there warming up, and they call out the starting lineup. And I'm looking around like, I'm starting? And then, Bernard, I got out there and busted a 99-yard touchdown. You remember that? 99 yards. And it was history. I went 90.
You absolutely set the tone. Now, you guys, Dennis, your sophomore year, you went 6-4. Northview got the best of you that year, 21-14. But you made honorable mention all state. Now, I want to keep coming forward. Your junior year, y'all went 4-6. Northview beat you again. But let's take it to our senior year. You guys had an outstanding team. You had a great season. You were 8-1, right? By the time, or 7-1 going into the Northview game. I think you guys were leading our district, or what was it called, division. I can't remember what it was called, district, division.
District, it was like district. Yeah, I was just really leading the district.
But that, I want to take it to the Northview game, and why that game was just so tough. Ultimately, you guys know this. Scotty D's won it in overtime, 13-10, largely because late in the fourth quarter, I threw an interception that we're getting ready to talk about. But leading up to that game, Dennis, maybe because it was my senior year or our senior years, there was so much hype. There was so much.
Oh my God!
Just momentum and discussion in the city. In my mind's eye at the game, there were 30,000 people in Rip Hughes. Now, realistically, probably 8,000 or 10,000.
I thought it was 50,000, Bernard. I thought it was 50,000. I really did.
But I want to talk. I talk too much. I want you to talk about leading up to that Dothan Northview game, your senior year. What do you remember about that time period?
I remember this, Bernard. We was 7-1 at the time. You know, we was ranked in the state that year. You know, we had a hell of a defense. I think we had about, if I'm not mistaken, 5 or 6 shutouts that year. I mean, I don't think nobody even scored over 10 points or scored 10 points on us the whole year, did it? I don't think so. So we had a hell of a defense. Like I said, I can name all them guys, man, that came out that would hit you. You know, Ray Gibson signed at Florida State. You know, it was just leading up to that game, but no, it was so intense. I was so nervous. I can remember that week, I was more nervous than I ever been leading up to a football game, because I wanted to beat y'all so bad. And coach had put, you know, we had a good team. We thinking we finna go to the state, you know. So it was just, I mean, everybody was just tense. I mean, everybody wanted to win. And I keep saying that one of the best games that were ever played at Rep Hughes as far as I'm concerned. You know, everybody talking about the 3 overtimes. I think that was a good game also. But, you know, it was just so many athletes on that field that year. I mean, Dawson, me, all y'all, Cassie Butler, I mean, Mike, Aristotle. I mean, y'all had a team, but we had a team. We had a great team. We really did.
I think that at one point, I looked at the rosters of both teams, and there were more than 30 players on both teams combined who played some level of college football, which is pretty impressive. But let me take you back. You were so right. This defense, guys, in '85, you open up with a 21-0 win over Eufaula.
Right.
You fall to Carver of Montgomery the next week, 13-7.
Right.
Then the win streak. Sidney Lanier, 21-15. Then 3 straight shutouts over Mosley, Carroll, and Lee of Montgomery. I want to come back to Lee of Montgomery. Y'all put a whooping.
That's right.
Larry Ware and one of the best teams in the state that year.
That's right. That's right.
Then you beat up on Kendrick.
Right.
Then you beat us in overtime. And then
Right.
probably one of the hardest fought games in probably Dothan High history against Enterprise.
That's
You beat
right.
them on a field goal, 3-0. So Scotty had 2 straight weeks of being the hero.
Hey, that's my guy. That's my guy, Scotty Dees. Now that's my guy.
And at one point, you guys, let's see, you got up to number 4 in the state.
Right.
At one point.
Right.
Let's see. Week number 9 and the end of the season, y'all were number 4 is the highest rated that you got when you were 8-1. But
Right.
Dennis, I can remember how tight that game was. There was a lot of nervousness, I think, on both teams. Nobody really scored much. And we were driving out of, and I don't know why I did what I did, but I threw a pass that bounced off Chris Holmes' hands right into maybe Ray Gibson's hands.
Ray Gibson. Yeah.
Ray ends up lateraling it to Teapot, and I'll put the video up here, guys, because it's quite embarrassing at the end. But I was determined that Teapot was not going to score to win the game. I knocked Teapot down, thankfully, but he knocked me into the cheerleaders, and it's just, I mean, that was a yard sale. There was parts of me everywhere. But ultimately, we got it into overtime.
Right.
Scotty won it. Now, what that did, Dennis, is that made you guys the area champs.
Right.
It made you guys 8-1. Well, then you beat Enterprise the next week. Ultimately, you were 8-1 to finish the season.
Right.
We somehow snuck in as the second team that year at 4-6.
Right.
So I don't know how this happened. Maybe Coach Parrish or Coach Golden can tell us, but it pitted you guys against Central of Phoenix City and Bo Peep, James Joseph, at home for the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if we lost Dennis. You still there, bud?
Yeah, I'm still here. Go ahead.
First round of the playoffs, you guys are hosting Central Phoenix City and James Joseph at Rip Hughes, and we had to go on the road up to Opelika. Do you remember that game? Because that was the game that James Joseph got hurt against you.
Yeah, yes, and Teapot the one hurt him. You hear me? Mm-hmm. Teapot the one came in and hurt his knee. You know, I hated that for Joseph, but that was I met him again at a Troy game about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to meet me, and I wanted to meet him, you know, but he wanted to meet me, you know. He's like, man, oh my God, I would tell everybody, I ain't never seen nobody run. I was like, man, I'm talking about you like you talking about me. You hear me? So,
well, both of you guys were extremely, extremely talented. Bo Peep, of course, went on to Auburn, and then he played in the NFL for several years. Right. But as luck would have it for Northview, because Joseph got hurt in your game, even though y'all lost, we then played Central Phoenix City without Joseph the next week, and we ended up beating them 10-0. And then, of course, we went on the rest of the season. But I want to take you back to your last high school game, which was that Central Phoenix City game. It was a 7-0 loss. They must have had a very good defensive game that night to shut you guys out. Do you remember any of that last game?
Man, I remember it like it was yesterday, and I hate it to this day. I mean, I want to talk about one of the guys, Orlando Grimsley. We cannot forget OG. He was one of the fastest guy in the city, or probably the state that year. But anyway, let me take you back to that game. They keyed, Bernard. They put everybody on the box on us. You hear me? And I'm thinking we should have thrown the ball a little bit more, but they just keyed, and they played a hell of a game. They had a lot of good athletes on that team. They had a great defense. They had a good defense that year, and they just keyed on me. And they was having 4 or 5 guys hit me if I ain't held the ball. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think I still got over 100 yards, I think. But they still, you just have a game. You know, we just had our game. Felix had got hurt against y'all, and that was just kind of hurt us because he was like the captain of the defense. You hear me? When you lose that captain, you really lose a lot. So I'm not making no excuses. We were just one of them games. We just had a flat game. I mean, I'm thinking we was the best team in the state that year. I just think that, Bernard. I just don't think.
Dennis, I'm not going to disagree with you, because leading up to that first round of the playoffs, you guys were, like I said, in the top 4 in the state. We were, as far as playoffs rankings, we were the last rated team to get in because we had only won 4 games. We were 6-4 leading up to the first round of the playoffs. In fact, Coach Parrish tells the story that when all the coaches went to Montgomery for the pairing of the playoffs, each teams, when they're announced, the coaches stand up and they say, I think their record or something. Well, Northview is right before Opelika alphabetically. Coach Parrish says that when they called out Northview and he stood up and Coach Parrish, announced who we were and all that there was some snickers, some laughs out of the Opelika.
Yeah. I heard about that.
They were number 1 in the state. They had Sean Smith. They had Greg, I can't remember his name. They had some serious talent on that team. But anyway, this is not about that game. I want to focus and continue. You guys lost. You lost that last game, but you knew you were going to play on the next level. I want to pivot a little bit, Dennis. You're on mute, bud. I want to pivot and talk about recruiting. You knew you wanted to play on the next level. What schools had contacted you? What schools were you serious about?
Well, to be honest with you, all of them, Bernard. And I had one more time to take the ACT. I pretty much was going to the University of Florida. They was interested. Remember Cedric Smith? They was going to start. Yeah, me and Cedric was going to Florida. And I had to take the ACT one more time, Bernard. And I had to make 1 point. I think it was 1 point short of the ACT that kept me from going to Florida. And, you have to have a certain GPA and a certain ACT score. It came out, in the year before. Then Prop 48 came out our senior year, didn't it, Bernard?
I think somewhere right in there, yeah.
Yeah, I think it came out the year before, so the year before, after the end. But, I was going to go to Florida. I was going to be a Gator. But I actually didn't make it, so I came to the best Division II school there was, University of North Alabama. And me and Felix became roommates. They
were a powerhouse back in the 80s and the early 90s. Now, before we get on to the college area, I want to talk about the seniors from your class at Dothan High, the 86 team. A bunch of you guys ended up playing in college or signing scholarships. Who all from your class, our year, ended up playing at the next level that you recall?
Doug Mims, he went to Troy. Ray Gilson, he played at, he got a scholarship to Florida State. James Ford, he went to Jacksonville State. We had Felix went to North Alabama. This just that senior year now. That's a lot of people. Who else? I'm trying to think of who else. That senior class. Addison was in the next class, but that senior class, I think that was it. But out of that team, we had about, like you said, we had about 15 on that team that actually signed scholarships.
Yeah, the junior and sophomore years were strong classes for both Northview and Dothan, the 87 and 88 teams as well. Well, Dennis, I don't mean to be skipping around on you. I wanted you to give some shout outs to some of your teammates from back in the day, your class. But did you take recruiting visits to North Alabama or any of the other schools before you made up your mind to go to North Alabama?
Yeah, man. When I knew I wasn't going, to Division I school because of the ACT, and I took a visit. Me and Felix went up there, and I loved it. I actually love North Alabama as far as when we come to a Division II school. You know what I'm saying? They had a beautiful campus. They were serious about their football. And, I went up there, but, I had some things that happened. My brother actually passed away. And it just, it affected me in a way where I should have been, I got a little counseling during that time, but I didn't. And I just went home, and I shouldn't have did. I should have went on, toughed it out, Bernard, to be honest with you.
It's easy to look back and beat ourselves up on what I should have done or could have done. But it's all life lessons. And what you ended up, your life lessons, you passed on to Caleb.
That's right. And
as much as it pained you to root for the Northview Cougars,
pain me.
A dad's got to do what a dad's got to do. So I want you to brag a little bit about your boy. Talk about Caleb for a minute.
Oh my God. Caleb, one thing I can say about my son, Caleb, he's tough. I noticed that from when he was a young boy. I used to get in there and play football with him and just knock him around, Bernard, when he was about 5 and 6 years old. I mean, hitting him hard. Me and his mama getting into him. Don't hit my baby that hard, you know what I'm saying? I'm hitting him, knocking him out. And I said, if you ever go tell him he too hard, they ain't gonna play with you no more. So one time I hit him too hard. He went in there crying, and she came in and had a fit about that. But he was just talented. Caleb, he had his head on right. He knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to follow in my footsteps. He heard a lot about me. So Caleb really wanted to be a football player. And one thing I said, I wasn't going to let that stop. What stopped me is not going to stop you. I said, you're going to get your books from the start. His mama made sure, I got to give her credit on that, made sure he got his books. And, he maintained that he didn't have to take it but one time. He passed it on the first time, so he was able to go to school. And I just love it. All Cameron, all his friends. They had a good nucleus of friends when he was going over there. Cameron Smith, they had, a lot of them, man. Devin, they really had a nucleus. And they became like my sons, I love them guys. They come over to the house. I cook out for them all the time. And we just always had a good time. We really did. But Caleb, he really hung in there, man. And he made me so proud as a dad. I remember you texted me, said, hey, Dennis, you need to smile. You need to smile. I remember that, Bernard. Hey, you need to smile, Dennis. That's they caught me on the picture, Bernard, when I was looking the other way. And they just clipped me a picture. But man, I said, Bernard, I was so happy that he was able to go do the things he did. And I'm so proud of my son. I really am. So proud of him.
That's so great. I got so many questions for you from all of that. But Cameron said that you were a decent, not the best, but a decent barbecue griller.
Oh, my Cameron, when I see you, boy, you used to brag on my burgers. Now you talking about I was decent? Okay, Cameron, I got you when I come to Louisville.
All right, I'm not saying I just made all that up, but I'll let you and Cameron take that. What was it about Caleb's game that you saw some of your game in? Where did you see any similarities?
Well, Caleb, he was smart. Caleb was just a smart football player. Mm-hmm. He sitting there, he knew what was going on, compared to me. And he practiced hard. He was like me. He wanted to be the best. One thing about Caleb, I could say he wanted to be the best. And I'm so proud of him for being the best. He was able to go take it to another level and do what he needed to do. So, for my son, I was just so proud of him, Bernard. Like I said, they caught me in a bad situation when I was not smiling. But you got on me. You got me right, Bernard, and I appreciate that.
That's all right. That's all right. But guys, not only did Caleb go on to Northview, and I want you to go catch my conversation with Caleb from several months ago.
Yeah. I seen it. I watched it. I watched it. Yes.
Caleb ended up taking his academic and athletic talents to Louisville.
Right.
And then he graduated. And now what? What are you now?
I am a proud granddaddy. You hear me? We got Tate James in the house. Y'all remember that name, Tate James Tillman. He gonna be. How
old is he now?
He's 9. He's going on 9 months. I just left him up there I went up there about 3 weeks ago, Bernard, and he already tough. You hear me? He already tough. So, Caleb gonna have him right. I'm gonna have him right. And, hopefully we could let Kevin get in there and have him right too. So, the family thing, we're gonna try to keep him right,
That's you just brought me to a topic I should have asked earlier. You've got in the city of Dothan, not only are there so many families who are friends and neighbors, but lots of folks are related to each other. I mean, literally through marriages or other ways. Kevin Jackson from Northview, Dothan, and then Alabama is a relative of yours. Who else during that time period, Dennis? Cousins or related somehow?
Kevin was my nephew. Let me see who else. I had my other nephew up in Hetland, Dwayne Mary. He was a little younger than us. We had Leon Mary up in Hetland. So, he was a little older. I don't know if you remember hearing about Leon Mary. He was a good athlete also. Good baseball, great baseball player. But no, I'm telling you, he was a great baseball player. But me and Kevin, during that time, then Caleb came along. My brother Terry, he played basketball. He was, they should have been on the football field, But, you know, son starting Terry, had my brother Malcolm, he played basketball. So, you know, my two sisters played basketball also, Bernard, on the same team at Dothan High. I had two sisters
Wow.
play basketball. Sure
Look at
did.
all that. Man, y'all just
Yeah.
full of the black and red Dothan
Yeah.
High Tigers. Guys, of
I
course,
would-
I'm talking with Dennis Tillman. We're just
Right.
living some good old days. And Dennis, we've got a little bit of time left, and I love hearing all these names that you're throwing out. But I want to
Right.
ask you, you know, the modern athlete, Caleb's generation,
Right.
so different from when we grew up. And here's where I'm putting my old man hat on. We
That's
didn't
right.
have all those distractions. So here's my
That's right.
question as a parent of a modern athlete.
Okay.
How do you guide the modern athlete to get out of the cell phone and social media and all of that, what comes? It just seems like, and maybe because they've grown up with it, they don't know differently, but we sure didn't have any of that stuff. How did you get that through to him to get off of that stuff, or did he?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I bought Caleb I think it was a PlayStation 2. Remember them PlayStation 2s came out and everybody went crazy about the PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
So I can remember what I used to do to Caleb. I used to take him outside and play all the time, Bernard. I said, "You're gonna get good. You cannot get better in this house." You know, I'm being honest. He'll tell you that right now. So he wanted to play Madden football one day. So you know what I did? But no, I'm gonna be honest with you. I took the game from him for a while. I did. I really did. I said, you is not gonna fall in love with this game, and you're not gonna be able to go out there and be the best you can be. So when I crossed that over to him, he got a better attitude at it. So me and him went outside and played. He was a good baseball player also. Baseball and football, even a little basketball all the time. So I had a big backyard at the time. So we stayed outside. So I think that was the key, Bernard. You can't let them sit in there, play them games. You got to be, it starts at home. They always tell me it starts at home. So it started at home with us. He'll tell you that. I kept him outside playing. And that way, I think that helped them out. Because you're right, it's a lot of that, you know, Twitter, Facebook, and all that. Being on that, I just think they get them lazy. I think, like us, Bernard, we stayed outside from sun up and sundown. You can remember that, don't you?
Now, in your neighborhood, what was how did you know it was time to come home at night?
Well, we had the light. Everybody knew the light. Don't let that light catch it. Don't let that, but no, you know how it is. Don't let that light catch you, boy. You know, I remember sprinting home, me and Todd sprinting home. You know, he got it bad. He staying next door to me, running in. I'm jumping over the fence trying to make it home. But when that light catch, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Guys, you know I've got Dennis Tillman right here, but I want to tell you who's just jumped on. Number 13, Coach Mike Henry has just joined.
That's my man, Nacogdoches, Texas. That's all I got to say.
That's exactly what he just said too.
That's just a time all live. Me, Mike, Kim, T-Pop Brown, Scotty D's, Keith Wyndham. I mean, we just Mark Parker. I mean, we just had a lot of guys who came together, and you know, we won the state championship in baseball, and that really one of the greatest feelings I ever had. To be honest with you, we won that state in baseball, and I made the winning catch. I made the winning catch, but no, I dove at a ball and caught the ball and made the catch against Hoover. We beat Hoover.
Wow.
Yep. And we won the state championship.
And from back in our day, a guy, only maybe one of two guys who I ever thought had the same level of speed as Dennis Tillman. He now lives in New Orleans. He is a police officer for the city of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Harry Stanley. Harry, thank you for joining us, bud.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Harry. He had a birthday, you know, not long ago. So happy birthday, Harry.
Happy birthday, buddy. And I want to get back with you when your shift times change. I'm going to get you and Ramona on this show, and that's going to be another great conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
We got just a couple more minutes, but I want to you shared a lot of life lessons with us tonight.
Right.
And here's what I want to ask you.
Okay.
And maybe this is some of what you shared with your son, or maybe, I don't know if it ever came up. Right. But if you've got an athlete who's in 5th and 6th and 7th grade right now,
right?
They see all those superstars on TV on Sundays and Saturdays and maybe Friday nights in their neighborhood.
Right.
What are you telling that athlete, that young athlete? How do they reach how do they keep their mind focused? How do they keep their body on the right track to achieve those goals?
You know what I say? I tell everybody this. I tell my son, if he could talk to you right now, he could tell you what I just tell everybody. I tell everybody, practice when everybody else ain't practice. Bernard, you become the best when everybody else sleep. You become the best when somebody else taking their girlfriend to the movie. While you out there running and getting faster and getting better. So I tell myself, I used to tell them all the time. I said, you go practice when everybody else is sleeping. So I used to tell everybody, I used to be out there running at 12, 1 o'clock at night. And people didn't know that. People thought I used to run sprints at 12, 1 o'clock at night from pole to pole. Just running sprints, trying to get faster. You know, I ain't want people like Michael Henry catching me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't want no Cougars catching me. I ain't want no Cougars catching me. So I had to go out there and practice. I would tell a kid, like I tell them now, Bernard, practice when there ain't nobody else practicing. When nobody can't see you. Get out there and practice. And practice make perfect. You know, that's what Coach Golden always told us. Practice make perfect. So you get out there and you practice. I tell them all the time. That'll make you the best, and work on things that you ain't good at. I mean, the things that you're good at, that's gonna come natural. Work on the things that you ain't good at, you know, and become better at that. So, you know, that's what my brother Terry used to tell me that all the time. So I give him that credit. You know, work at something you ain't good at. So I used to tell Caleb that all the time. He'll tell you that all the time. Work at something don't work at nothing you're good at. Work at something you ain't good at. Become better. So that's what I would tell him. Definitely.
Dennis, I've learned two things tonight.
That's that.
One, I've learned that you got to just do things when people aren't. You're gonna get better when the other guy's sleeping or the other guy's lazy or not doing what he should be doing.
That's right.
And the second thing that I already knew, but you reinforced it, that Cougars Dothan High Tiger rivalry never goes away.
No,
there on some level or another.
No. It always there, man. I love y'all now, but I hated y'all then. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I hated y'all then.
That's the quote of the night right there from Dennis Tillman,
right.
class of '86 Dothan High Tiger, one of the very best. And Dennis, I want to thank you, bud. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I really, really appreciate you coming on tonight and sharing your stories with us.
Okay, man. I appreciate you, Bernard, and I want to tell everybody that joined in. Thank you for joining in tonight, and I really appreciate it. I definitely do.
Good stuff, guys. I'm not always going to bring a Dothan High Tiger on, but every once in a while we'll get one on here. You guys continue to be safe. Do what's right for your family. We're going to come out of this pandemic, but it's going to take a while. Just do the right things, please. Come back next Wednesday night. I got a whole nother great conversation coming up on Conversations with Cougars. Y'all have a good night.